A Nippon Baseball All-Star game a few weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, in fact, decided, hey, I'm throwing nothing but fastballs. Did so. 23 pitches, 12 were at or above 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's awesome to watch. The thing I look for, he's got such a tall frame. He's got beautiful delivery, classic big league delivery to the plate, can touch 100 miles an hour, like you said, and this is their young, up-and-coming star.
And in fact, they've had, as you mentioned before, a ton of great pitching so far in this series. And if Ohtani lives up to the billing, boy, oh boy, are the Major League All-Stars in for a heap of trouble in this ball game. They've already lost this series, not necessarily a best-of-5 series, but a 5-game series. So Ohtani looking to finish things off for Samurai Japan, again up 3-1 in this series. These two teams will meet again after a travel day at the Okinawa Cellular Stadium in a couple of days. One last game after this, but this, of course, still part of the Japan All-Star Series. As you see, the 2.61 ERA and 155 and a third innings pitched for Shohei Ohtani. Decided not to go straight to the major leagues, even though he did put a little bit of thought into it right out of high school, where he was throwing regularly 100 miles an hour. Sounds as though there may be some sort of a handshake deal whenever he wants to get posted to go to the big leagues, that they're going to let him in Nippon Ham Fighters. Jose Altuve leads things off and takes inside for ball one. Jerry Lane is behind the plate as the umpire. Kunio Kyuchi is the first base umpire. Mike Winters is at second. Norihiro Akamura is the third base umpire. And the 1-0 pitch to Altuve. Shoots one into right field. And cut off before it gets to the corner by Itoi. Nice job to keep Altuve at first base.
And that's what you got to do right there. Jose Altuve showing you why he led all of baseball with 225 hits. Won himself an American League batting title. Taking a high 90s mile an hour fastball and just shooting it to right field.
Yasiel Puig will be next. Again, 3 for 11 in this series with a couple of doubles, a couple of runs scored as well. Had 2 doubles and a single, a 3-hit ball game in Game 4 after he was drawing his walks, but struggling to get some hits. But again, with the injury to Robinson Cano, the structure of the lineup for John Farrell has changed a bit, also moved him up to maybe get him some more fastballs, and he figures to see 1, 2, or 50 fastballs from Ohtani today.
Well, listening to Hiroki Kikubo, the manager, talk from Team Samurai Japan, he's going to have to mix in pitches. You can't just go out there and think you're going to feast. I don't care how hard you throw. Major League Baseball, one thing these guys know how to hit is a heater. And if it's straight as a string, he'll get hurt. So look for him to mix in an arsenal of a good slider, good tight slider in the low to mid 80s, a curveball, a changeup, and a split.
And that good fastball might actually be just what the doctor ordered for this Major League All-Star lineup. Ohtani deals to Puig. Breaking ball in there for a called strike. And I say that because we've talked about it a lot, as these guys, most of them have had to shut it down after the regular season or early exit from the playoffs, in Puig in the Dodgers case. Maybe the best thing is just those fastballs, as opposed to getting the timing on a breaking ball, seeing different breaking balls, sliders, curveballs, whatever the case may be. Maybe the fastball's the best thing to just get your timing back, see it, and hit.
Absolutely, and one guy who can absolutely hammer a fastball is Yasiel Puig here in Game 4. Throwing out a couple bullets to left field, made another diving catch, getting a curveball up in the zone and shooting it past Matsuda at third base for 3 knocks.
Jose Altuve off of first, led things off with a base hit to right field.
And I'll say one thing for Shohei Ohtani. 20 years old, facing this lineup, even though he has that mid-90s to 3-digit fastball, there's got to be some nerves on the mound tonight for him. Not right there, though. Just some dead red gas right by Yasiel Puig for out number 1.
And you got to like the location, too, because if it's that pitch, maybe middle away, you're able to do something with it the way Altuve kind of fought it off. But up and in, it's tough to get around on.
Yeah, classic 4-seam grip right there from Shohei Ohtani.
Justin Morneau takes upstairs for ball one. Morneau 3 for 16 in this series with a couple of home runs, but 6 RBIs. Had 4 of those in game 4 when he also connected on a big 3-run home run to really settle down this team a little bit. A team that had struggled to score runs, get leads. He had an RBI double in the first inning as well to bring home Yasiel Puig. But quickly Samurai Japan tied it up. And that 3-run home run later in the ball game again really helped to settle down this bunch, because they were, I don't want to say a lifeless offense, because I think that kind of takes away from the pitching for Samurai Japan. They check.
Again, you could say that, Paul. Lifeless. They were reeling. Anytime you get no hit, I don't care what level of baseball it is, you go over there to put your best foot forward. You're supposed to be some of the best players Major League Baseball has to offer. And a combined no-hitter's thrown your way. It's time to regroup. John Farrell shook the lineup up. Got great production at the top of the order.
And again, Morneau goes down swinging. And there are 2 away here in the first.
And that's what Shohei Ohtani's able to do. Right there you see good split finger. Diving down in the zone to Justin Morneau. When you throw triple-digit type fastball, being in the box against guys who have thrown that hard in the past, you cannot come off that pitch. You have to respect and honor that pitch every time Ohtani goes into the windup. So anything off speed that he could throw for a strike or bury in the dirt late in the count is almost unhittable.
Morneau strikes out for the 3rd time in this series, 2nd of the inning for Ohtani. And Altuve moved up to second base with the ball in the dirt. So Evan Longoria steps in, runner in scoring position, and taps the first one foul. And for Longoria, 4 for 12 in the series with 2 runs scored and a home run. Also added a grand slam in the game, the exhibition game before this All-Star Series began against the split team of the Hanshin Tigers and Yomiuri Giants. And here comes the 0-1. Swings right through that one. That's high 90s.
That's some gas right there, Paul. And I know Evan Longoria is having a great time over in Japan, but if anyone's looking forward to the flight home, it's this guy right here. Get a chance. Just had a baby boy, Nash. Him and his wife, Jamie.
This is going to be impressive tonight.
Jeep Cherokee models.
First pitch from Matt Shoemaker. Misses outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Yuki Yanagita has had a good series. Couple of good games, really, but the 6 for 16, 4 RBIs looks pretty good. Had a 3-hit game earlier in this series. And a 3-hit game in game 4 as well.
Again, what a story about Matt Shoemaker. This was an undrafted pitcher out of Eastern Michigan, and all he did was fly through the system, debuting September 15th of 2013 and hasn't left since. Was a staple in Mike Scioscia's rotation this year behind Jared Weaver and C.J. Wilson. Got to start in the ALDS Game 2 against Yordano Ventura and the Kansas City Royals.
Evan Longoria over at third. Nice play by Morneau on the bobble over to Shoemaker covering first. Wow. Over at first. Ryosuke Kikuchi, the second baseman, takes ball 1. 4 for 12 in the series, double and 2 RBIs.
think the thing that jumps off the page for me with John Farrell and his defensive alignment is the ability for Ben Zobrist to handle center field. What a luxury for John Farrell to be able to put him out there. I know he has Dexter Fowler on the bench, but Ben Zobrist has been great to be able to play those premium positions up the middle, shortstop, second base, and center field.
And Zobrist is a guy who can play all over the diamond, literally. Has done everything in the big leagues except pitch and catch. Jose Altuve at second, figures to see the bulk, if not the rest of the playing time, with Robinson Cano injured. Evan Longoria ranging to make the play, 2 away. And in terms of Zobrist, just 34 games in his career in center field, 7 games in center field in 2014, but he's seen center field the last couple of nights for John Farrell to give Dexter Fowler a little bit of a break. Shohei Ohtani, the right fielder, steps in.
Yeah, Ohtani's a 6-time All-Star, hit .331 this year with 19 homers and 81 ribbies. Looking to get off the schneid. He's 0 for 9 in this series so far.
Breaking ball in there for a called strike. And we've talked a lot about the pitching for Samurai Japan. The pitching for the Major League team hasn't been terrible, as Longoria ranges way over to make the catch. A basket catch for Evan Longoria in foul ground for out number 3.
MLB Network.
What a phenomenal play to end the bottom of the first inning.
Couple of slick defensive plays. Justin Morneau, ball got on him quick on this turf. Kind of deflected it up in the air, caught it with the bare hand, flipped to Shoemaker for out number 1, and then Evan Longoria's nice play going into foul ground on the basket catch for out number 3. Also impressive was the first inning for Shohei Ohtani. as he gave up the leadoff base hit to Jose Altuve and then struck out Yasiel Puig, Justin Morneau, and Evan Longoria, all swinging. And I think it's fair to say, at least in the first round against Ohtani, of what could be a heavyweight matchup here, they didn't stand a chance.
No, the ability to throw a fastball right by Evan Longoria, 2 of them, pretty special. Living in the high 90s right now.
Last one at 97 miles an hour. Was living at 97, 98 in the first inning. And now the 2-1 to Carlos Santana. Fouls it off, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Santana the DH tonight, 1 for 9 in the series with 4 strikeouts.
And starting in game 1, you go back to a guy like Kenta Maeda, who I think if posted and comes over to Major League Baseball, in my opinion, watching him throw kind of slots in more into that 3-4 guy in the rotation. But you're looking at Ohtani, a 20-year-old with great mechanics and electric stuff. This could be potentially a frontline starter down the stretch.
Fujinami got the start in game 4. Was really the only starting pitcher for Samurai Japan that struggled in this series. Norimoto with the 5 perfect innings to start that combined no-hitter in game 3. The payoff pitch to Santana misses outside. And that's the first walk of the night for Shohei Ohtani. Missed outside at 98 miles an hour.
And you look at Shohei Ohtani right here, ends up walking Carlos Santana. But he's got to be thinking about $155 million that was pushed Masahiro Tanaka's way.
That one on the ground to second base, bobbled by Kikuchi. They get 1, and with Sal Perez and that speed of a catcher, they're able to double him up, 2 away.
And kind of earlier getting back to that handshake agreement with the Nippon Ham Fighters, when he wants to be posted, it's kind of up to him. You look at the stuff, 1,000, more than 1,000 less innings pitched on this arm than Tanaka. This is impressive.
Kikuchi, knowing as a Gold Glover they had plenty of time at second base, gave a good flip after the bobble, and it looked like Genji even had a pick over at first base to double up Perez, who is now 0 for 10 in this series. Ben Zobrist steps in.
Oh, and he can add in a little bit of an Ephus curveball.
I was going to say, do you like the curveball too? Man. And again, he only pitched 1 inning in game 1. Back-to-back curveballs and in there for a called strike. So he didn't really open up the repertoire too much in game 1. But he did say, and I was surprised, he did say he wasn't overly impressed with his outing. 7 strikes, 12 pitches. Zobrist fights it off. Seems like he's got high expectations of himself.
Classic windup right here. Drop and drive. Big tall frame. Getting out there, staying over the top of all his pitches. Showing off a nasty curveball 3 out of the first 4 pitches to Ben Zobrist.
Good look there at Kenta Maeda in the foreground on the right. Pitched a really good game 1. Making sure everybody's got a good seat for Ohtani here in game 5. That one misses low. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's a good take right there by Ben Zobrist. Good split finger with 2 strikes down in the dirt.
The 1-2 pitch to Ben Zobrist. just misses. At 97.
Rephrase that, Paul. Just misses?
Just misses.
Ball's right down the middle.
Ohtani probably wanted that one. Maybe it was coming so fast Jerry Lane didn't see it. I don't know. "26 pitches to this point in the second inning." Again, there are those pitch limits. Can't throw more than 80 unless you're trying to finish off a batter. So, again, this is my pessimistic game plan of just let him throw a lot and get him out of the game. Get him out of the run the pitch count up and get him out. Be a 2-2 pitch to Ben Zobrist. Swings and misses for strike. Back at the Sapporo Dome, Matt Shoemaker set to deal in the bottom of the second inning. And pours in a called strike to Sho Nakata, the cleanup hitter and left fielder tonight, who's 4 for 16 in the series with a home run. And 0-2. 4, 5, and 6 for Samurai Japan here in the second inning. Seiichi Uchikawa and Hayato Sakamoto to follow.
And you're going to watch Matt Shoemaker go to work with a low 90s fastball, a good curveball, a slider, but his put-away pitch is a great, devastating changeup.
Line drive, foul down the line. Nakata, a really nice year for the Nippon Ham Fighters. Figures to get a good hand. They play the bulk of their home games in this ballpark. 27 home runs, 100 RBIs. 6 seasons with the Fighters. And the 0-2 pitch.
And to this point, the MLB All-Star pitchers have been able to hold that 3-4-5 in check. The likes of Nakata, Uchikawa, and Itoe.
This one popped up on the infield, coming in Escobar and Altuve. And it's the second baseman Altuve to take it. 1 away. And a called strike on the inside part of the plate.
Yeah, this guy's credentials, Paul, kind of just fly off the page at you. He was a Pacific League MVP in 2011. See Longoria ranging to his right there. Nice pick by Justin Morneau for the second out.
Seamless play-by-play there, my man.
Here comes my man to the soundtrack of Frozen. 7-time All-Star Sakamoto.
It's a couple of slick plays by Evan Longoria over at third, one into foul territory on a basket catch to end the first inning, and that one on the ground ball toward the line. And a nice job to pick it out of the dirt for Justin Morneau, 2 away. Duda gives chase. Duda in left field, 111 games in left field in his career, but just 1 in left field in 2014, mainly because he was playing an awful lot of first base after the trade of Ike Davis. Those guys had been splitting time over there, but the trade of Davis able to kind of free up that spot for Duda. The 0-1 to Sakamoto. Misses outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
And what a resume for Hayato Sakamoto, a 7-time All-Star again. But in 2008, he accomplished something no Yomiuri Giant had since Hideki Matsui, being the first Giant to debut at 19 years old.
And he's been impressive in this series, too. I mean, granted,
really
4 for 12, small sample size, we understand, but still, he's played a good shortstop, put forth good at-bats, showed a little bit of power with a home run. And now a base hit toward right center field, as Zobrist will cut it off. And a 2-out single for Sakamoto.
I think the beauty of calling these games with you, Paul, getting a chance to see Team Samurai Japan and seeing just the arsenal that they present, not only from a pitching standpoint, but the statistics up and down this lineup offensively. Nice harbinger to 2017. We're going to know these guys inside and out when they come over to play in the WBC.
It's one of the reasons why Japan wanted to reignite this Japan All-Star Series, was with a new crop of young players, and a good young crop of players as we've seen so far. Probably see a lot of these guys in 2017 in the World Baseball Classic. Nobuhiro Matsudo steps in as they check on Sakamoto. You talk about guys who have impressed in this series. Nobuhiro Matsuda, 6 for 15, 6 runs scored, a home run and a couple of ribbies as well.
And has played some stellar third base to boot.
On the ground to Longoria. Across the diamond.
Now just $4.99.
There are short lists, and then there are short lists. 10 wins and 10 homers in a single season in professional baseball history. Shohei Ohtani and Babe Ruth. That's it. 11 wins, 10 home runs for Ohtani.
When you're on a graphic solo with Babe Ruth,
that is impressive.
You're pretty special.
And he has been impressive through the first 7 batters. 4 strikeouts as Lucas Duda leads off and takes upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. 3 strikeouts in the first inning. Puig, Morneau, Longoria. Got a double play in the second and then finished off Ben Zobrist to end the inning. And now 8, 9, and 1 due up for the Major League All-Stars here in the third as Duda now ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes.
What a year by Lucas Duda. 30 homers, 92 ribbies. The New York Mets go out and sign Michael Kadire to a 2-year, $21 million deal to lengthen that lineup.
Line drive towards center field, and that will get down and get to the wall. Yanagita fires in, but a leadoff double for Lucas Duda here in the top of the third.
Great piece of hitting right there. 2-0 count. Knows he's getting a fastball. Doesn't try and do too much. Lets Ohtani generate the power, stays down and through the baseball, and shoots it into left center for a double.
Those 30 home runs were 3rd best in the National League. Those 92 RBIs tied for 5th in the NL.
Sets up Alcides Escobar right here, who has the ability to manipulate the bat through the zone and move runners. Look for him to try and push something to the right side, if not bunt. I don't think he flew all this way to bunt, but you never know.
Nah, he might have flown all this way to find a spot in right field for a base hit. 1st and 3rd, nobody away.
Just a great piece of hitting right there, knowing his role, trying to move Lucas Duda over to 3rd, stays on a slider, down and away. Nice piece of hitting by Escobar right there.
And that was his first hit of the series. Was 0 for 9 with a couple of strikeouts prior to that. Got game 4 off, obviously, with the Kansas City Royals. All year long, Escobar played a ton of baseball. But never really, despite the fact that the Royals made a lengthy journey through the playoffs and through October, never backed off his commitment to come on this trip. So give Alcides Escobar some credit. Give all these guys credit, too, because after a grind of a season, to slow it down, I don't know about shut it down, but at least slow it down, and then come back here and face what has really been impressive competition in Samurai Japan. That's up and in on Altuve, gets by Shima, and Duda will come in to score the game's first run. And all the way to 3rd goes Escobar. Heads up base running for Escobar, who takes 2 extra bases on the wild pitch.
Great hustle by Escobar right there. A lot of foul ground in Sapporo Dome. See right here, arm side miss from Ohtani, up and in. Scary pitch to Jose Altuve right there. Gets by Shima all the way to the backstop. Escobar hustling off first base, ends up at 3rd with nobody out.
Yeah, scary is right. The last thing you want is injuries. And unfortunately for the Major League All-Stars, they've already sustained one of those, and to a second baseman. It's Robinson Cano, a non-displaced fracture in his right pinky toe. Was hit by a pitch in that combined no-hitter in Game 3. Done for the next 3 to 4 weeks. And now a 2-0 pitch to Jose Altuve with Escobar on 3rd. In there for a called strike.
Yeah, tough break for Robinson Cano. Already back in the States. Going to have to rehab or rest for 3 to 4 weeks before he can start his off-season workouts and prepare for the 2015 campaign with the Seattle Mariners.
And when you say drop and drive, very evident on that delivery. 3 balls and 1 strike to Altuve.
The lineup for the Yankees. Their best player the last 3 or 4 years he was there. And obviously Seattle's best player last season.
A high chopper to Sakamoto at short. And an RBI ground out for Jose Altuve. A 2-0 lead for the Major League All-Stars.
Way to battle right there by Jose Altuve. Tough pitch, split down. Just battles, puts ball in play. High chopper, able to get Escobar, who was going on contact. Look at that right there. Altuve stays with it. Especially using his turf to his advantage to steal a ribby.
Yasiel Puig, first pitch swinging a line drive, base hit into left field. And that'll bring up Justin Morneau.
Can't talk enough about Justin Morneau's season. What a sign by the Colorado Rockies. 2 years, $12 million deal. Coming off playing in Pittsburgh, 2013 season. All he did for the Colorado Rockies is follow Michael Kadire in the long lineage of Colorado Rockies who have won National League batting titles.
He's been a big part of the offense for the major leaguers as he fouls that one.
Year in which he hit .379 to win the National League batting title. Hit .462 at home. .282 on the road.
That's good, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, just check.
.282 on the road is good. Never mind the .460.
But the thing with the Colorado Rockies has never been their offense. It's always been the pitching. And whether or not they can put together a rotation and an entire staff that can battle through an entire year. They've dealt with their injuries along the way as well, but well, neither pitcher's getting the low part of the strike zone, as that one didn't miss by much at 94 miles an hour.
Yeah, I don't know where that pitch is right there. Jerry Lane must be seeing that ball down. That's knee high, middle of the plate.
The payoff pitch to Morneau in the dirt, blocked nicely by Shima. But it'll be runners on first and second.
Running into a little bit of trouble right here with command issues. Just some great ABs by the MLB All-Stars, and Evan Longoria looking to put a big crooked number on the board for the MLB team.
Struck out on 3 pitches in the first inning, and now down in the count. No balls and 1 strike here in the third. Inside, 1-1.
That'll wake you up.
This will be the 20th pitch of the inning for Ohtani.
Throws you 95 miles an hour, arm side run in on your hands, and then throws a front door curveball. Can't help but buckle the knees a little bit.
The 1-2 pitch to Longoria, that got him. So Carlos Santana, who walked back in the second inning, will step in with the bases loaded and 1 out here in the top of the third. A chance for the Major League All-Stars to really blow this thing open. Yasiel Puig at third, Justin Morneau at second, and Evan Longoria at first. And if you're using this game as a scouting report, this is a good spot here to really see what this guy's got in terms of the guts when he doesn't have his best stuff, at least control-wise. Figure out how he is able to get out of jams like this.
One thing that helps is having the ability to have a 12-6 curveball in the bag. Going up against Carlos Santana, a guy who absolutely feasts on MLB pitchers with the bases loaded.
This will be the 24th pitch of the inning for Ohtani. Keep in mind, it's again an 80-pitch limit for the pitchers in this Japan All-Star Series.
Santana, career .417 hitter with the bases loaded, battling 0-2 right now.
Misses low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. With Sal Perez on deck. Major League All-Stars lost the first 3 games of this series. So Samurai Japan securing a series victory with those 3 W's. In there for a called strike 3 to Carlos Santana, who thought that might have been a little in. Instead, there are 2 away.
Great pitch by Ohtani right here. Good 4-seam fastball, inner half. Just painted right there. Carlos might have thought that ball was a little bit inside. But that pitch caught a lot of the plate.
96 miles an hour on the inside corner. 2 away now for Sal Perez with the bases loaded in the top of the 3rd. And that's in there for a called strike. Perez grounded into that 4-6-3 double play back in the 2nd inning. Puig, Morneau, and Longoria, your base runners. Longoria looks like he's trying to keep that wrist loose, where he got hit by the pitch by Ohtani. The 0-1.
I know he's down 2-0, and he's in a bases loaded jam right here. You can't not love what you're seeing out of Ohtani. The arsenal he presents, 20 years old.
And that's the thing, back against the wall. How does he respond with 2 runs in and the bases loaded?
Talk about young pitchers who broke into the major leagues, kind of guys like Steven Strasburg at a young age with big time stuff.
Swing and a miss, strike.
for everyone today.
That's in there for a called strike.
I think we'd be remiss if we didn't speak to the resume of Team Samurai Japan's manager, Hiroki Kikubo. 18 seasons as a player in the MPB, 11-time All-Star, 413 homers, 6 seasons with 30-plus homers, and the MVP of the 2011 Japan Series. This guy is fresh off the field. His words probably carry a ton of weight in that clubhouse. Been there, done that, and going to manage these guys, like you said, in 2017 the WBC.
In there for a called strike. Genji, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, he was on that SoftBank team in 2011. He does not manage in Nippon professional baseball, strictly the manager of their national team. Altuve with a bobble, but plenty of time to get out number 1.
Yeah, here we go. Look at this. Career resume, 18 seasons for 3 teams between 94 and 2012. Just retired. 6 seasons with 30-plus bombs. MVP of the 2011 Japan Series. Probably teammates with some of the guys on the current Team Samurai Japan.
I would imagine. As Motohiro Shima, the catcher, will bat with 1 away and swings through the first pitch for Matt Shoemaker, 0-1. Does that help when you're not that far removed from the playing field?
Seems to have worked for some guys like Mike Matheny, Brad Osmus. Seems to be the new trend. It's a young man's game now, Paul, especially over here, Major League Baseball. And who better to relate than a younger manager fresh off the field? But again, I think it comes down to the character of the manager. If he's got a feel for that clubhouse.
Deep to right field. Puig going back. Played on a hop.
Doesn't matter the age.
Foul ball. Sorry.
See guys like Joe Madden going to Chicago, creating a loose environment in the clubhouse, bringing penguins, boa constrictors.
That's right. Mariachi band.
Yes. Whatever it takes.
That one about 2.5 feet foul down the right field line. So the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, it's a tighter clubhouse in Chicago. I'm not sure where the marine life is going to fit, but if anybody can figure that out.
It's under new renovations as we speak.
That's right. A whole separate clubhouse just for the mariachi band.
Another good pitch right there. It's that good devastating changeup from Matt Shoemaker.
They swing it. I don't want to say a lot of pitches, but as you guys have mentioned, you and Darrell Hamilton, they keep their bat in the strike zone or in the hitting zone for a long time. Just able to fight pitches off and extend at bats.
Yeah, accomplished hitters, not trying to do too much. Kind of that pass the baton mentality. Although these guys are probably the best on their respective clubs, the way Kikubo's constructed his lineup, everybody knows they have a role to do, but they're able to keep the bat head in the zone a long time. You watched Ichiro come over for years. It almost looked like he was running to first, but still had the ability to manipulate the bat head, throw balls into the left field corner, pull homers when he needed to.
And most of these guys have a controlled swing. Yuki Yanagita has more of a chaotic swing. He swings out of his shoes most of the time, and it's worked to this point. 6 hits in the series. He took such a big swing in his first at-bat that his helmet flew off. Fouls that one off, 0-1. And he hit one hard to Justin Morneau at first to lead things off in the bottom of the first inning. Got to Morneau really quickly, had Well, Morneau's from Canada, so I guess it's played it like a hockey goalie. Knocked it down, made the play. And Matt Shoemaker flips to Morneau for a 1-2-3 third. The Major League All-Stars with a 2-0 lead.
Network.
As Shohei Ohtani is approaching 60 pitches to this point, really had to work hard in the third inning, surrendered 2 runs, left the bases loaded, and it was a double, a single, and then a wild pitch, scored a run, and moved Escobar to third. A ground out, scored a run, and then another single, a couple of walks. First pitch swinging for Ben Zobrist. Kikuchi to first, and there's 1 away.
Yeah, his ability to work out of a 30-pitch jam right there. Striking out Santana and Perez back-to-back with the bases loaded to get out of the third inning, kind of keep this Major League Baseball All-Star team in check. Only gave up 2 runs. Lucas Duda actually got the inning started with a ringing double left center.
Duda's first hit of the series in limited playing time.
Again, getting back to the Mets, excited for the 2015 season, getting Matt Harvey back, great young pitching staff, the addition of Kadire, a healthy David Wright. Curtis Granderson's got to be better. Just lengthens that lineup in a tough NL East where Washington's going to be obviously a preseason favorite. Miami.
John Hart has been busy with
John
the Braves.
Hart's busy.
My goodness.
Jeffrey Loria has been busy, given 12 years and $325 million to Giancarlo Stanton yesterday.
This is one of the right side as Gingy takes it himself, and there are 2 away here in the top of the 4th.
Can you say that number again real quick?
$325 million? Where do I sign? I think the only question, it seems like every team in that division is getting better, or at least on the uptick. The one real question mark is the Philadelphia Phillies, and it seems like their entire offseason and maybe their near future all hinges around Cole Hamilton, what they do with Cole Hamilton.
Yeah, it really does, and they're going to have to wait if they're going to move him. He's the one piece on that team that could really bring back whatever they would need as far as prospects, major league ready talent, but they're going to have to wait to see where Scherzer signs, Lester signs, James Shields, before teams are willing to give up a huge package.
Escobar toward left center field, and it gets down for his second hit of the ball game. A 2-out single here in the top of the fourth.
The thing that's nice about Cole Hamels is you know what you're getting. You're getting a frontline starter. Arguably could be the best out of those 3 free agents I named. He could go right to the top of that board. 4 years, $96 million left on his deal. So you know what you're paying. An average of around $24 million for the next 4 years to get a #1 starter. Do you give up the prospects and pick up a Cole Hamels, or do you give the extra 2 years to a guy like John Lester or Max Scherzer and just sign the free agent? Especially with John Lester with no compensation pick attached, being that he was traded in the middle of the season to the Oakland A's. And right there you see Shohei Ohtani throwing out his second bullet to right field. He's 2 for 3 with an RBI.
I mean, how many times is Shohei Ohtani going to have a multi-hit game?
69 this year for the Houston Astros. I think you said earlier in game 1 or 2, 10 more than the closest competitor.
Yeah. And he was up in the 9th inning in the no-hitter, the combined no-hitter, and struck out. And I said it yesterday. I said I thought that was the major leaguer's chance to break up the no-hitter, but unfortunately for the Major League All-Stars, he struck out, and the rest, as they say, is history. But now Ohtani, after a couple of quick outs on a couple of ground balls to the right side, back-to-back singles. Escobar on at third. He went first to third on the hit for Altuve, and now Yasiel Puig steps in with 2 outs in the top of the fourth. First pitch swinging at the fastball, and it's 0-1.
Ohtani's got to be careful right here. Yasiel Puig is seeing the ball good. Game 4, he threw out 3 hits. Took an 0-0 curveball his last at bat against Ohtani and hit a missile to left field. Looks like Shima wants a fastball away right here.
Up and in. And he's been up and in quite a bit. It seems like that's where he's missing on that fastball, and unfortunately for the major leaguers, he did that to a right-handed hitter, Altuve, upstairs. Just missed his knuckles. Missed inside to Evan Longoria and hit him on the wrist, and then that one right up in the kitchen of Yasiel Puig. Took a little off there. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
See right there, split finger grip, that fumbling action down and into the right-handed hitter, getting Puig to swing right over the top.
And it's just a difficult pitch arsenal to pick up if you're a hitter, because we've seen that big breaking ball, that big curveball that he's got too, to really change up the eye level. And now over the top of that as Puig strikes out. 7th strikeout to this point for Ohtani. Samurai Japan trails 2-0.
on MLB Network.
Move it forward and see what you've got. If you're the Atlanta Braves, a team that obviously was lacking some offense, so to trade away Jason Hayward, as Kikuchi sends this one in the air and twists Zobrist around, and a quick out number 1 here in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it comes down to, Paul. You never want to lose a Jason Hayward, but at the end of the day, 271 with 11 homers, going into a free agent year at 26 years old. I'm sure John Hart reached out to his representation, kind of checking in on it if there was an extension that could be reached. Probably floated a number their way, thrown back in their face. Hard for Jason not to approach free agency at 26 years old and see what's out on the open market. Atlanta Braves and John Hart in desperate need of young, controllable pitching, getting Shelby Miller, who could one day turn into a number 1 type ace. He definitely has the stuff to be that. But if nothing else, a 3-4 to mix in with Julio Teheran, Alex Wood, Mike Minor, young starting staff in the NL East where a lot of teams are getting better. So I think on paper a great trade for both teams. St. Louis with the devastating death of Oscar Taveras and having to address the right field situation. To be able to go out and make this move for John Mozeliak, get one of the arguably the best defender in baseball.
Shohei Ohtani with the base hit into center field.
And he's going to love playing in St. Louis. They've been in the NLCS the last 4 seasons. He's going to get a chance to play postseason baseball, almost certain of that, unless the injury bug bites St. Louis.
And to that point, as you take a look at the 1-out single again from Ohtani, John Mozeliak did address that in the press conference, that this was obviously something that they wouldn't have addressed 3 weeks ago.
No,
but with the untimely and unfortunate death of Oscar Taveras, you hate to even bring up the baseball side of things, but unfortunately that did leave a hole on the roster. So John Mozeliak doing his best to move forward. His job, of course, is to fill out a roster with the St. Louis Cardinals, and still mourning the passing of one of the best young players and young prospects in baseball, Oscar Taveras. But the Cardinals take a step forward with Jason Hayward filling that void in right field.
And I don't think John Hart and the Braves are done. They're trying to get younger. They're trying to address the pitching staff. They're moving into a new ballpark in 2017. Got to generate some buzz. Got Freddie Freeman. Right here you're seeing Eduardo Nunez take over for Evan Longoria at third base after being drilled by an Ohtani fastball. Not going to take any chances. Get some ice on that in the clubhouse. Right on the left forearm. High wrist.
So the power hitting Sho Nakata ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes.
And you always look at Jason Hayward for Shelby Miller, but let's not forget Jordan Walden goes to St. Louis, a guy who can pitch in high leverage situations with big time power arm. John Mozeliak addressed that as well. And the Braves getting Tyrell Jenkins, just dealing in the Arizona Fall League. Big body, projects to be a frontline starter down the road. So great trade for both teams.
Just what the Cardinals needed, another power arm in their bullpen. Right? As Maru, the pinch runner, is picked off by Matt Shoemaker. Not sure where he was headed, but they got him by a couple of feet.
And St. Louis is trading from a position of depth. Wainwright, Michael Wacha will be back healthy. Lackey, Lance Lynn, Marco Gonzalez stepped up in the postseason. Carlos Martinez could be a swing guy if they don't want to keep him in the bullpen. So the loss of Shelby Miller, although stings initially, I think they could withstand the blow of losing him.
Paints the outside part of the plate on the breaking ball, and the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Sho Nakata.
just to tie a bow on it. Jason Hayward's one of those guys, man. You look at him and he has the.
I don't know. I just remember every question. What did you think about Nomo? What did you think about his performance? And it was impressive to you know, I got to bat against him, and you could see it firsthand. But
you went 8 innings, 1 run that night. They just told me in my ear. Poor John Smoltz. I say that if I had a nickel for every time I say poor John Smoltz. Hey Joe, your debut that you remember most.
Yeah, I was actually at the Strasburg one also, was special, and I actually think this was going to be even bigger because things like social media have gotten so big. Mine was